Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, this is not the video that was planned at all, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize because this was super last minute. The other idea that I had is going to have to wait until next week because I have $0. It's definitely something that's been done on YouTube before, so I just really like the idea and I thought it would be something fun. It's definitely going to be makeup related. I did my eyeshadow today. I used the James Charles palette. I don't care what people say about him. I think he made an amazing palette with Morphe, and I'm definitely going to continue using it because I don't care about the drama that happened on YouTube. All I care about is that it was a good eyeshadow palette with great pigmentation. There was a lot of colors, and I absolutely love it. And I'm just very proud of how it looked. I hope my light isn't like too bright when I had my glasses on, because I still haven't figured out how not to have a ring light on my glasses. If you know how to get rid of that, definitely let me know in the comments below, because I have no idea how to do that. I'm blind as a bat, so I need my glasses, but I'm just sitting here, so I'm not really doing anything, so I don't really need them. But yeah, like I said, this was kind of like a last minute idea for a YouTube video. I've told this story to a lot of people and they normally think it's funny, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna embarrass myself and just post it on YouTube so a lot of random people can read about this story. But before we get started, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because obviously I am a YouTuber that is just starting and everything is all about subscribers. And in order for me to start making some revenue, I need to have at least 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you know whenever I come out with new videos. Like this video if you want to hear some more. I have a lot of really weird stories. I was raised on a farm, so if you want to hear some more stories about things that happened to me that are just kind of like a little off the wall and random, then definitely hit the like button. If you don't like this video, then hit the dislike button, because like I always say, I don't care. I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. It's your personal preference. I thought it would make a good video, so whatever. But yeah, I decided to change up my YouTube schedule only because I felt like Saturday to Monday didn't really give like too much of a break in between. So I've decided to do Tuesdays and Saturdays, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm sorry if you were expecting a video yesterday, but I felt like I needed a little bit more time in between to A, come up with ideas, B, prepare myself to make another stupid YouTube video that people are going to watch. So I've changed that up. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to change it in the description of everything now. I know I just started and I'm not keeping it consistent at all, but I just really felt like I needed a couple extra days in between Saturday to Monday to just kind of like process and come up with ideas and just make a better YouTube video for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I said in my last few videos, I was raised in Oklahoma, and I was actually raised in a little tiny town called Ringwood. If you've never heard of it, I'm not entirely surprised, okay? There's not very many people there, and I was raised on a farm. I was born in Enid, which is like a bigger city, but then my parents got this bright idea that they wanted to move out to a farm and experience that kind of life, so we moved to Ringwood, Oklahoma, okay? And it was fun. I definitely learned a lot by growing up on a farm, a lot of responsibility and a lot of different things, but it just definitely was not my scene. Obviously, I don't look like I was raised up on a farm. At least I've been told. So I was raised in Ringwood, Oklahoma. We were raised on a farm, and just a bunch of like weird stuff happened. But that's actually not what this story is about, but I just kind of wanted to give you a background of like where it is that I was raised. Now in Oklahoma, and if you're from like other farming states, you definitely know that most people raise cattle. That's kind of what we do. Everybody's got cows. Cows is like a big buy and sell trade down, especially south, Midwestern, up through to like North Dakota, and they actually have like a lot of like really big herds of cattle like on major highways, and a lot of times they just have like hot wire fence, which if you know anything about cows, hot wire fence really doesn't always keep them in, especially if they're like excited and they're all running at the same time. They could easily run through that, so keep that in mind, okay? So my first car, I'm sure most of you had like a beater car for your first car. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't something that you were proud of, and when my parents drove my first car up the driveway, I remember walking outside and I was like, what is that for? And they were like, oh, this is your car. And I was like, I don't want that, because it was a 1988 Buick Park Avenue with blue leather seats on the inside, and it was absolutely ugly. It was horrendous. I hated it. The minute that they pulled it up the driveway, I was like, please, for the love of God, tell me that that is not my car. So I walked outside, like I said, and I was like, what did you guys buy this for? And they were like, oh, we bought this for you. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. And they were like, well, we took the money out of your savings account to pay for it. And I was like, are you kidding me? You didn't even ask me about it. So at that point, I was tired of riding the bus, because when you're 16, 17 and you're in high school, riding the bus really isn't the greatest thing for you. And it was full of children, and I was like, okay, I'll take the car. If it gets me from not having to ride the bus anymore, I'm down. So that car was just pure metal, just a beast. At first I hated the car, and then I learned to love the car. I would take it everywhere. Me and that car went everywhere. I drove it like a freaking idiot. Of course, whenever you're 16, 17, you have no cares in the world. You think you're invincible. You think you could live forever. And I drove the car like a bat out of hell 24/7. So drove the car super stupidly for a very long time. I graduated. I moved out of my parents' house. I went to college for a little while. That obviously didn't work out. And then I moved back to Enid with one of my friends. And this is where the story starts to happen, okay? So it was super late one night, and me and my friend decided to make like an hour-and-a-half trip to go to Alva, which is where I had previously gone to college at. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning whenever we made this stupid decision to take a road trip to go to Alva. And 16, 17-year-olds, what are we doing? We're not paying attention to the road whatsoever. Got the music on as loud as we possibly can. We're jamming, we're singing, we're not paying attention to the road. And I was going about 65, 70. That was the speed limit on this particular road that we took. And it was kind of, obviously it was late at night, so like nobody was driving on the road except us fucking idiots. And we were going really fast and not paying attention, and it was really late at night. And I didn't see them until I saw the whites of their eyes. And what were them, you're asking? Cows. And remember, like I said, people keep cows on the side of the highway with just hot wire fence, nothing. And evidently these cows had decided that the grass was definitely greener on the other side, and they wanted to make their way out of their enclosure and just hop on up to the highway. Well, I didn't know what to do. And I was going extremely fast, like I said, 65, 70, and didn't notice these stupid cows until I was like right on them. And the whole freaking herd decided that they wanted to be on the highway. I don't know what they were doing. And in the back of my mind, as I'm realizing that I'm about to make it through this herd of cattle, something clicked. And I remembered that my dad had told me when I first got the vehicle, and we were like talking about like the safety things and all of this stuff, and he was teaching me how to drive. He told me if I was ever about to hit something really big, like a deer or a cow or something like that, not to hit on my brakes, because that's whenever they'll come up in the windshield, and that's whenever you can actually really seriously get hurt. And so I was like, oh my God, I can't step on my brakes. I have to just go, because I'd already hit one, and I realized that there was a lot more on the highway than just the one. So instead of hitting my brakes, which I should have after I hit the first cow, I just continued to press on the gas and go through these cows. And I didn't just hit one. I didn't just hit two. I didn't just hit three. I hit about 4 or 5 of these cows, okay? And we are going through these cows like we are bowling. Like bowling, but with cows. And I am freaking out. My friend in this passenger seat is just dying laughing. The music is still blaring. I am like, oh my God, what is happening right now? I was literally in a panic. So I finally made it through these cows, and I like pulled over on the side of the road. My friend is still laughing, and I just honked my horn. And I remember my friend being like, why are you honking your horn now? And I was like, I don't know. It seems like the only realistic thing to do at this point, because I don't know what else to do. I had just plowed through these cows. I didn't know what else to do. So I just hit my horn in just sheer panic. And I just remember just staring straight ahead, just my hand on the horn. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in so much trouble. I didn't think to get out because it was on the highway. It was really dark. The only light that was coming from anything was from my headlights. And we were actually super close to Alva. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. There was a Walmart that was like right on the edge of town. I was like, I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna pull into the Walmart parking lot and I'm just gonna figure things out from there because I don't know what else to do. So we continued on going our own little way. My heart is still just like beating out of my freaking chest. I am freaking out and my friend is still just laughing and the music is still really loud and we're still just jamming. Mind you, I think I was like still singing at that point, but it was like a nervous singing because I was like, this really happened. So we made our way into the Walmart parking lot and I could hear that something was like going on the side because I hit them all on pretty much the right side of the vehicle. And I was like, I was super dreading to get out. I was like, oh my God, the car is going to be totally busted. I was so nervous. I knew I was going to have to call my dad and I didn't want to call my dad. That was the last thing that I wanted to do because then he was going to be like, why are you out so late? Why are you not at home? And I was just like, oh my God. So we got out and we looked at the vehicle and this is why my car got her name Betsy. And the only thing that was wrong with the car was it had busted the right headlight. It had dented it just a little bit on that side. The side mirror that was on the right was just a little bit, just kind of pushed it. And I was just like, okay, this isn't that bad. There was something that was kind of loose, I think, on the right side underneath the vehicle because whenever I would drive, I could kind of hear like a sound of something hitting the tire. But I was like, oh my God, we're A, alive, B, my car isn't tore to shit. I was like, oh my God. So my friend ended up leaving and I called my dad and was freaking out because I was like, my dad is gonna be so freaking pissed off at me. And it was like 3-4 o'clock in the morning and he's gonna be asleep and he's gonna be mad because I'm calling. And I remember I called and I was like, hey dad. And he was like obviously upset that he had been woken up, but my parents didn't have caller ID, so they had no idea who it was. So I'm sure he was just like, really? When I answered, I was like, I just had something happen. And he was like, oh my God, what? And I was like, well, I hit like 5 cows with my car on the highway. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, I hit like 5 cows with my car on the highway. And first thing he asked, he was like, obviously, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, is the car okay? And I was like, well, I pulled into the Walmart parking lot in Alva. And that's when he got upset. He was like, you're in Alva? He was like, why are you in Alva? And I was like, I don't know. Me and my friend decided to come like randomly, just come to Alva. And that's mainly what he was upset about, which I knew. And I told him that the car was pretty much fine, that there was a few things that needed to be looked at. And he was like, okay. The next day, whenever you wake up, just drive over and I'll take a look at the car. So I ended up driving back home. I drove super slow. I drove about 55 miles an hour. I drove back by where those cows were and then none of them were there. So I obviously didn't really hurt any of them. I bet I did, but they managed to get away. So that was good. At least no cows were harmed really bad during this incident because none of them were on the highway. So I was like, oh, okay, at least I didn't kill any of them. So I drove back home. It was really, really late at night at this point, obviously. And I was driving very, very slow. The headlight was busted on the one side, so I didn't want to get pulled over. So I was just driving extremely slow with my hazards on. And the next morning, I woke up and I went to Ringwood to where my parents were. And I remember pulling up and my dad was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was just like, hey dad, how's it going? I hit 5 cows with my car. And he was actually just as surprised as I was that it didn't do any more damage, because if it would have been like my vehicle that I have now, which is a Chevy Sonic, which is pretty much just plastic, we would have definitely either been seriously injured or probably dead, just depending on the situation. So my dad ended up being able to fix it. The car was so old, we called like all the junkyard places and car repair shops and all those different things to try and find a new headlight piece to fix my vehicle, and they didn't have any of them. No place had it. And in order to fix that headlight, you had to take the whole piece that had both of the headlights attached, and we just couldn't find the replacement part for it. So my dad, being the savvy man that he is, decided to engineer a replacement part for it. And let me tell you, it was not pretty. He took a chicken feeder, he took one of those, cut the bottom out of it, And he had this like puffy styrofoamy stuff that like expanded as it dried, and it was a disgusting yellowy orange mustard looking color. And he placed this metal container on the inside and just took this puffy spray paint styrofoam stuff and just sprayed it all around the outside so that it would just like compress itself inside there to like put a headlight in and so it wouldn't move. And it looked so bad. So he ended up just taking like a normal headlight and just placing it on the inside, taking more of that yellow styrofoam stuff to really just encase the light in there. And that was how we fixed it, and it worked. The dent, obviously we couldn't get the dent to go away, and that car was a beast, okay? In order for me to plow through 5 cows on the highway going about 65, 70 miles an hour, and only to have that little damage, that car was a beast. And after that, I loved that car so much because that car pretty much like saved me and my friend's life. And I wish that I would still have that car now, because it was just, after that, like I said, I totally loved the car. I totally respected it. I was like, you are everything to me. And that car lasted me for so long after that, until I actually left and went to basic, which was January of 2013. And this happened, it was like 2011, 2012. So it lasted me for a few years, even after I hit those cows. I did a lot of other things to the car. I was at my grandma's nursing home apartments, and there was like this metal awning with like these huge white poles that they would park their cars under, because we get a lot of storms in Oklahoma. We get ice storms, we get hail storms, we get huge thunderstorms, tornadoes, obviously. So they wanted something to park their vehicles under, and I would go over to my grandma's house quite a bit. And as I was pulling out and backing out, I turned my wheel and just hit one of the metal poles really, really, really hard. Messed up my steering wheel. Like, I could hardly steer at all. And I was driving to work one day, and I was like trying to turn the wheel, and I was like, what the heck? So I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, something happened to my car. I don't know what happened. So I had to turn around. I had to take it back to him. And he was like, did you hit something? And I was like, no, I didn't hit anything. And he was like, you obviously hit something, because you had to have hit it really hard in order to bust whatever it was that was broken. And I was like, nope, I didn't do it. And to this day, at those nursing home apartments, they thought it was actually one of the elderly people that lived there that hit the pole. There is huge red tape that marks all of the poles to let everybody know to watch out and not hit them. And it's not because of an elderly person that lived in the nursing home. It was because of me. And I totally fooled my parents for a long time, until they went to go visit my grandma, and they saw the pieces of the, like, there's like the headlight, and then there's like the 2 little side lights, and it had busted that, and there was the pieces on the ground. And I remember I was with them whenever they went to go visit my grandma, and my dad walks inside with one of the pieces, and he was like, so you didn't hit anything? And I was like, well, I may have hit that pole, but it lasted after that. My dad was able to fix it after that. And like I said, it lasted me all up until I left. And when I left, the car was still working, and my parents ended up telling me whenever I got to tech school, they told me that they went to go start the car, and the car did not start at all. So it was like she was waiting for me to be done with her, and that's whenever she was like, I've had enough. This girl has put me through a lot. But my vehicle that I have now, I have never gotten a wreck. I have never hit anything. And I am proud to say that. And I'm proud to say that I've actually never been in a wreck with another vehicle. I hit 5 cows with my car, and she still went on like a trooper. And I am super grateful for that vehicle being 100% metal. That's what I wanted to get on and talk about today, was hitting those cows, because normally whenever I tell people that story, they think that it's really funny, and they can't believe that happened, because normally you don't hit 5 things in a row. You hit them like one at a time. And I hit them all at one time in the middle of the road on the highway, and I just took my dad's words to heart, and I didn't hit the brakes, and I just stepped on the gas, and I just plowed through them like I was going through a freaking pizza. So I know it is not exactly the video that I had planned for this week, but I hope that you thought that it was funny. And like I said, if you want some more stories of like things that happened to me whenever I was younger, because I have a lot of like really random off the wall kind of redneck thing that happened to me whenever I lived on the farm, then definitely give this video a like. Let me know in the comments if you liked this video, if you thought that it was funny. I hope that if you were having a bad day and you needed some sort of a laugh, that this gave it to you, because every time I think of that story, it definitely makes me laugh, and it definitely makes me very grateful that I am still alive. And I bet those cows never cross that fence ever again, especially late at night, because who knows, Bailey could have been driving again. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that it gave you some sort of a laugh, made you think twice about driving like an idiot or driving recklessly, because it is super important to always pay attention whenever you're driving. Don't drive super fast. If it's really late out at night and there are like the possibility that there could be things on the road, and especially if you're driving late at night, it's better to drive just a little bit slower anyway. It's better to get there a little bit later than not get there at all. So it took a few years for me to learn that, and it took a few bumps and bruises to old Betsy, but she was a good car. And if you don't know what a 1988 Buick Park Avenue is, definitely look that up on Google. That way you can understand why I hated that vehicle at first. That's pretty much my video for this week. I hope you found it entertaining. Like I said, if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't find it entertaining, give it a thumbs down. I don't care. If you want some more stuff like this, I have a lot more stories to tell. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Definitely subscribe to my channel. If you have any ideas of videos that you'd like me to start doing, if you see something that you think would be super interesting, just let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for being a part of my YouTube family. I appreciate every view, every subscriber, every like and dislike that I get. Every comment means so much to me. Starting this YouTube channel was super nerve-wracking for me, and I was very nervous that I would get no views. My last one has over 300 views, which doesn't sound like a lot, but oh my god, it is a lot. Okay, it's thank you. I appreciate it so much. But I really appreciate all of you for helping me to, I wouldn't say make my dreams come true, but in a way, yeah, it means a lot that I'm getting love and support from people that I know and people that I don't know. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being part of my YouTube family, and thank you for coming and watching another video of me just talking. Next week, I promise you, we will be doing some more makeup related things. I really wanted to do something like that this week, but like I said, $0, okay? We haven't been able to go to the store because we are broke. So I promise you, next week I will be getting paid, and I'm going to be doing some more makeup related things, because I know that's pretty much what I said I was going to be doing. I also had someone comment on my last video that they wanted me to kind of do a wig tour to see all of my different wigs. So if you want a video like that, definitely let me know. Give it a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments. Thank you again so much. I appreciate everything, and I appreciate your love and support, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope that this made you laugh, and I hope maybe this made your day a little bit brighter by watching this. So I will talk to you guys again later this week. All right, bye.